So, welcome to this video that I promised to make about F1 2020 mods, on how to make them, how to put them to the game, and how to switch chassis between the teams. So the first thing that you need to make F1 2020 mods is the 3D template. That is downloadable on Race Department. It will be linked down below. Editing software, preferably Adobe Photoshop, and this Intel DDS plugin or Intel TextureWorks plugin that helps you save these files as DDS format that is used in F1 games. And of course you need Rider's Ego ERP archiver. So you have your Photoshop template and you need logos to make the car. So just you need to find all of the logos that we'll use, that we'll need, and when you get all of them, you preferably put them into uniform colors. That means if you have like blue and yellow car, you might go for logos that are black and white, so they can be seen on the car. You might go for blue and yellow logos, but well, that's a different story. But make sure that the logos are all uniformly colored in like two colors. For this example, it's just white and black, which works best for the cars. It kinda gets worse when you have of multiple colors, like you have green car and you're going to have red logo, blue logo, white logo and black logo on green background, and it's gonna look weird. It's not gonna look so pretty. Sometimes it can be realistic if you are making a replica of like all the cars that where people did not care much about the colors, they just needed money. But if you're making a car of your mind, it's preferable to use logos this way. Sometimes you have logos like Castrol or Motul or Panasonic, which are required to be in their colors, but that's usually also only because it's a replica of a real life car that you will see. So you have all of your logos and it's time to start editing. So this is the template you have in 3D. You just open this default OBJ and you get this. So this is what you're going to work on. It's your 2D wireframe. Pretty simple this year. Some cars are a bit harder. This is the F1 car, so it has everything nicely laid out, everything has its parts. But if you're working on the 2020 F1 cars, it gets kinda tougher on some, but it's up to you to figure things out. So when you're making delivery, it's recommended to use layers to have easier work. So you have, for example, when you have a car, you want to put some things black, maybe like a rear wing or the front wing, or some parts that you want to have kinda, let's say, hidden. So you put them in black, or the black can be part of the car's design, as you will see with this car. So just you have your base color layer, and you go up into another layer. So when you have these designs, you like put the base color onto it, or the actual livery onto it. When making the livery, you kinda want to also see how it looks, so you just take this lasso tool, which I use to just create a basic shape. So when I wanted this to be as it is, I would make just basic shape, and this is enough. You just color it. I will do the color, and it would look fine. Again, if you look at this bit, if I just wanted to see how it looks, I will also use this, but it has problem that it can't do rounded edges. If you do it like this, it kinda looks like it is round, but it actually is not. It's kinda jagged line. Yeah, see, it kinda like cuts away. It's not so perfectly round. So if I do like the bigger circle, you see how it is round. So that's the problem with this. That's why for finishing delivery, if you have some rounded edges like this, just use the pen tool and you can make a simple rounded edge with the pen tool. I will post like a guide to how to use the pen tool lower, so you can find it. And when you already have done everything, you've done your lines, all the design, it's time to put on the logos. I usually just put them into one big group, so it's easier to like put them on and off, so I can see how they work. And also it helps further with the design later on. As you can see, they are usually uniform colors. As you can see, black logos where they are needed, white color where it is needed. As you can see, like this, the next 100 years, that is the logo that is in that car. So is Panasonic, it's in blue color, so you can see how it looks on the car. Just wait for it to load in onto the car. And boom, you can see how the car looks. You can see how the logos work. Some parts it's harder to make them look pretty. For example, on this part, on the airbox, it kinda has weird wireframes, so you need to work with the logos when you want them to like be bent around. Sometimes they bend around or do weird stuff, so you need to figure most of those things out. And so you have your design, you're happy with it. What you do is save as, and you can save it anywhere you want. If I would just save it to the desktop. You choose the Intel Works DDS, name it whatever you want, say the livery, you save, then you're gonna have the second window pop up, the Intel TextureWorks window. If you're saving something like this, there is a solid color. You use texture type, color, BC1 sRGB DX10, bitmaps auto generate, and you just press OK. It's going to save this thing. When you have transparency on the car, that means you have you have this kind of texture. When you want this kind of texture, you will save it as something different, but I'm gonna talk about that later. So you have all of this, and now we want to create your Sfc file. Your Sfc file tells the game what finish should the car have. So when you have like this kind of orangey red color, this will give the car classic like glossy color, like no normal color. If you want, for example, matte car, you go for not this kind of green. It needs to be somewhat lighter. So you would go for this kind of green to get a matte finish for the car. Let's say this and all of this would be matte. So this is what gives the car matte finish, maybe a bit darker. Whoops, you want to do that? So it should look something like this. And for example, you have the logos here, and they are all different colors. So what I tend to do is just hide everything, merge everything that is visible. That means these logos are just now one big group, and I want the logos to be glossy as well. Well, but all of them to be glossy. So just go swatches. Which one is it? Yeah, less glossy. Just paint them like this. Yeah, like this. And now all of the logos will be nice and glossy as well. Then you do the same thing. Save it wherever you want. Name it whatever you want. The livery, and just put _s so you know it's the Sfc file. The normal one maybe has like _d as I don't know it, but _d or s. That's what you need, and you do the things again. Save. Oh, yeah, make sure that you select your Intel TextureWorks DDS, then you save it. And that's the livery. So now I'll show you how to create your decals and everything. Open up the RaceNet glove logos, and if you load the transparency as alpha channel, it depends on what kind of file you're opening. With this file, you won't see where stuff is, because if I open it, let me close it. If I open it and I select load transparency as alpha channel, it looks like this, and it's tough to see what is what. So I tend to open this without the alpha channel. It's easier. So this is, for example, the RaceNet glove logos. And what you want to do is just replace all of these with whatever you want. So I go to BMW and I want to put the BMW logo on there. Put it onto this. Make sure the size is correct. With this, it needs to fit into this, because it has a wire frame that it needs to fit inside. So I will put like BMW logo there. I don't know, BMW Bank. Replacing this is kind of tough to see, but you get used to it from time to time, and you know how big stuff needs to be. So we have this bottom layer. You need to fill it into black. It needs to be pure black. Now you want to select these two. Select all of it. Go to channels. You might have this alpha channel here already. If you have it, just delete, create new one, and fill these into white. The alpha channel tells the game what to put onto the paint. This is used mainly when you are working with the gloves or clothing, or when you're working with the normal liveries. So with the normal F1 2020 cars, they don't have a livery like the FOM car where everything is on that. They have separated color and decals. So when you have this, name it again as whatever you want. Save as Intel TextureWorks. Do you want to replace it? Yes, I do. I'm not gonna anyway. And here you select color plus alpha. Again, BC free. It has to be sRGB and mapmaps auto generate. And this is how you do everything that has in ERP archiver that has this kind of transparent background. If it has this background, it needs to have it also in the archiver. So let me open up the car. So find your F1 2020, find this Teams directory, open up F1 car web, and open up the ERP file. So as you can see, this is the transparency that I'm talking about. What I tend to do, and is the best when making these kind of liveries, is to find the livery RaceNet _D, and you then go and replace textures on this car. So let me find, I have my BMW theme mod that I created. Let me just drag that onto the desktop. Right, and this is from where I'm going to go. Usually mods have this kind of ERP file where are all of these textures that you need to replace in FOM car and everything that is together with. So just go textures, import, find wherever this is, and since this is the FOM car, you go for livery RaceNet _D, and you save the map maps into the directory. Map maps are somewhat also important because they are things that tell the game what it is and how it should look. So remember, in settings you need to set up your game directory where your F1 2020 folder is. You just continue with this. Again, the Sfc file that you have created, the livery_s, double enter, to import it in. And this is, for example, the one that I had before on the car. And sometimes you maybe want to replace a number. It might be your race number, whatever number you want. It works the same way as the decals that I showed before. So it has to be black background saved with the alpha channel, so it looks like this when you put it into the archiver. If it has whatever else behind it that should not be there, it should be the number or the decal. You've done something wrong, you need to look. If it's color, then you know what you've done wrong. So you just Ctrl S to save as the FOM car. Save it. And you have to do this in FOM car, and the same thing you do is in every My Team folder. Well, unless you are planning to have a Honda F1 team. So we are probably going to use Honda engines, you don't need to do the replacement for any other brand. Or you are doing team, you are going with Renault, so you just replace there, you don't need to replace anything in this. But if you're creating mod that does not have a dedicated engine manufacturer, you need to do all of those. So this. Next is the UI package, texture arrays, customization, emblem, and where is it? Emblem. Yeah, sorry for the cut. I had by mistake probably deleted that. You need your emblem anniversary. So this is your team logo that you're going to use. You can see here is the BMW logo. It works again the same with the transparency behind it. That's where you replace your logo. You can replace any you want, let's say the centaur, but you can see that it like has two colors. So whatever you place here, you will need to get these two like red and green colors in the game. So the anniversary logo is the easiest to do because it does not require to like color it in a game, so it looks good. And then you want to replace also stuff in the character package in team livery. I tend to replace the FOM gloves because for some reason the normal game gloves and the RaceNet gloves don't appear for me, but it's different. So you go again the same, you go textures, import, you find whatever gloves you want, save the mip maps, this is the gloves, you go into glove logo, you either leave this blank, so I have just this text here to show that like this should be empty, but you might have to put some logos into there. So it's glove logo, and you can see there's the logo for the gloves. And the stuff that you need to replace is the RaceNet stuff. So you need to replace the boots, that's the same thing, textures, import, desktop, if whatever you want. These are the shoes that you're going to use. You can replace the cap, I tend to replace also cap S, the gloves, glove logo. You can do helmet if you want, the livery, so you put in the suit that you want. But here I put every logo on a suit. And there is a reason behind it, because it's really easy to put all of the logos and the design on this suit. Because you see how it looks. But we have this racing logo, that's why I have that like empty file. It's a racing logo. Yeah. Yeah, like you can see no logos here. It's good, it should be clear. So you can again just Ctrl F to save. Also, that's how you import all the stuff into the game. Now, how to change chassis of the car. So you want to change, let's say, Ferrari chassis. Correct game, yes. So this is the 2020 Ferrari. You can see like this is the wireframe or the UV mapping for the Ferrari. it's not as friendly as the FOM car. You have these like decals. This is the decal file where all the logos are for the car. So what you want to do when you're replacing chassis is find the Ferrari car model layer. You go pkg files, export it to wherever you want to work on it, save it, and you can edit this with Notepad. And you need to find this model line. You just have to take Ferrari away and write the FOM car as well as here FOM car, save it, and then you can just go pkg files, import, and you import this file that we have just created. You can just look at this, and this should be changed. Also, what you need to do is go into the FOM car, and here you need to export some textures. Those are the textures that have the wireframe and the UV mapping for the FOM car. And like these details, if you look at this one, and let me open the Ferrari one, just look how it looks. And I open the Ferrari, and I go to detail. Boom, it's different because each car is kind of different. So you need to export. You go textures, export, and then you go back to Ferrari textures, import, and you export FOM car details. You can export the FOM car number, or you can create your own number, or you can keep the Ferrari numbers. But you have to be worried that sometimes you will need to make some work, because this is how the FOM car numbers look. If you go to Ferrari numbers, let's go to number 16, you can see this kind of different. Like every number is kind of low, different than it needs to be, and it might look weird on the car. Sometimes teams have like numbers that are two different colors. I don't know, someone has it, maybe has. Like, see how they are placed, and because the FOM car has wireframe that takes this centerpiece, these two are going to be totally wrong. So you either take this one and change it up, like scale it a little bit so it is bigger in the center, and it might work. So from FOM car export FOM car details, any number that you want to use, or you create your own one. You export damage, dirt, all of the steering wheel stuff, and all of the FOM wheel stuff, and you just import all of these textures onto the Ferrari car. Remember to save the mip maps. If you don't save the mip maps, your game is going to probably crash, or the car is just going to look ugly. So let me know. And the last thing that you want to do is go into the teams, Ferrari, web, Ferrari asset group, and you're going to take this line, copy it, spacebar twice, put it in here, and again replace the Ferrari with FOM car, like this. Okay. FOM car. Again, save it. If you don't do this, your game is going to probably crash. So when your game crashes or the car looks bad, you already know you've done something wrong. And that's all of it that you need to know about how to create your livery, how to put it into a game, and how to switch chassis between teams. I hope this helps you, and I hope you're going to create some beautiful liveries.